Hey, what's up guys, this is TBone here. Welcome back to another episode of playing Gemstone Legends. So, patch 0.36 is now officially live, and I wanted to do sort of like a quick reaction to it and also talk about the various different aspects, but I don't want to do it in a single video because there's a lot of things to talk about and it would simply take too long. So instead, I'm going to cover individual topics in different videos. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the raid boss. I will be doing an inbox discussion as well as a summoning along with that because there's a whole topic around sort of how the changes impact everything. So stay tuned for that. And I'll also be talking about the changes to the animation and also the caster set in general. So that will be in future episodes. Keep an eye out for those as well. So let's talk about the raid boss. Okay, so the raid boss is our end game content. Okay, this is where the goal is to get to the highest level of the boss, and that is 6 stars, level 6. And a lot of the top tier guilds were at that level and they were able to successfully take him down on a daily basis. And so the patch was intended to make a more difficult boss level that is truly that is meant to be the true end game content. But pre-patch and post-patch, there is no new stars added. Instead, we still see 6 stars, level 6, as the highest tier of the raid boss. But instead, the degree of difficulty for each of these bosses went straight through the roof. And I mean, it was so difficult. And this is across the board. We, as a much smaller guild, we were at a 4-star boss. And when we first tried to attack it, it was absolutely insane. It had, I think 5 to 6 million health for us, and we couldn't even scratch it because as soon as we entered the fight, we would just immediately die. And on top of that, none of our negative statuses were able to go through. And so a lot of the strategies, a lot of the teams, a lot of the makeup that people had simply weren't effective. And so there was definitely a lot of feedback, and a lot of it was very negative at the very, very beginning as soon as it dropped. And on top of that, it happened right in the middle of our dragons, so it didn't even get a chance to reset. And so for those of us who didn't kill it in time, we ended up facing a much tougher boss, so we couldn't finish the dragon for those rewards. So there's a lot of feedback on there. And then so what they announced after about 24 hours was that the 6 stars level 6 dragon pre-patch is actually meant to be a 5-star level 1 dragon post-patch. And so what they did was they dropped all of us down to the appropriate levels based on where we were before the patch. But the problem after that was it was still way too difficult because nothing would get through. It didn't matter how much accuracy on your heroes. It didn't matter. Nothing would get through. Resistance was simply way too high for us to be able to do anything effective still. And so then they came out with another update right afterwards to say that the resistance on the dragon was set to be too high by accident, and they have reduced it. Since then, at this point right now, I feel that the boss has become more tolerable. It's more manageable. It's still difficult. Definitely way more difficult than it was before the patch, but I think that now it's getting to a point where the level of difficulty has gone from impossible to, well, it's a challenge. It's a pretty high challenge now. I don't think that we're gonna be able to finish our boss. You can see here we still have 1.5 million health remaining, but this is a lot better than how it looked just the day before. And I think that we are definitely going to drop a few more levels, but I think we will then be able to find the right strategy for it. One of the things that definitely had come out as a result of these changes, if you take a look now, is that Reflect is now becoming a very important skill. And if you take a quick look, T6 is going to be an example of a hero that will be very useful if you have him. Definitely try to level him up because he's going to grant immunity for all of your allies, so that prevents you from getting one shot by the AoE damage. And then it also grants Reflect. Reflect will basically take 20% of the damage you take and deal it back to the enemy. And so with the dragon hitting so hard now, Reflect becomes that much more effective, especially if it's a especially if it does damage to all of your heroes. Reflect will be sent back to all of them also. And so definitely T6 is a very, very useful hero now. Another very useful hero is going to be Daphne has another example, but because she also sends, you know, she does taunt and reflect, so you can actually give a tank a really good, you know, you can have your tank taunt, and if you can give it more defense, it can survive, then you can reflect. The problem with Daphne, I find, that is that she also casts Soul Link. So because the dragon deals so much damage, if your tank that you're trying to tank the damage goes low in health and you're Soul Linked, Daphne ends up dying because of the damage taken. So there is also a con for that. But anyway, there's at least some strategies that come out. And if you take a look at sort of, you know, my journey to where I used to be, and that is 100,000, you can sort of see my makeup, sort of my team makeup. So this is before their second update to reduce the resistance. So before the resistance, nothing was getting through. I was able to get about 42. Then they came out with the change to resistance. You can see my value has gone up a little bit. So 65,000 went up to 75,000. And finally, my last battle was slightly better at 80.9 thousand. So getting closer, getting back to my 100,000 damage. And what I want to do is I want to share sort of my fight for how I did it. And then hopefully this helps you. This is probably not going to be helpful for those of you who are much stronger than I am right now, but this should hopefully help some of you who are just kind of starting out and trying to figure out what kind of setup you can use. So I'm going to go ahead and try the boss right now with the setup I have. It is going to take really long to try and complete the entire fight, so I'm probably not going to show the whole thing, but what I will do is I'll show the sort of the beginning and talk about sort of like the general strategy, and I'll show you the final results. So I'm using Alton, which is the card that is going to give me the most amount of, I guess, debuff here, in that I can get it to reduce the defense of the dragon, and I have basically 3 cursed sets there, so I can get my accuracy up to 147. So I can almost guarantee that I'll be able to deal damage. I'll almost guarantee I'll be able to cast it on the dragon. So let's go and take a look now. And then I have Alexander as my main tank, and Alador is my healer, and then my main attackers are going to be Octavia and Lurkar. Now, my Alador has enough speed in the beginning so that I can use my mana potion on Alexander right as I start. And so this is going to be very key. Like, I need Alexander to survive my attacks, and during this time, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to continue to try and get all of my other heroes to be able to activate their skills. So my Alton, for example, I need him to be able to cast his special skill, and then I need to be able to do attack from Lurkar and also with Octavia. And so we're able to get the damage in there, and I do also need to make sure that my taunt is up and going. So we're going to do the green and also the purple gem matches. I'll again make sure that my taunt is up, and then I'm going to deal damage with my Octavia. So I was able to get pretty decent damage there. I still need attack from Lurkar, so let's go ahead and get some red gems as well. And what I'll do is also get my heals going, so that as I get damaged, I'll be able to recover over turn. And then we're also going to be able to use the Ruby Dragon to do burn damage. And if I can get the burn effect in, then my Lurkar will do a little bit more damage. And you can see there we're able to get some pretty good damage there. And then here you can see that the dragon basically almost took me out. And so I still need health potions to heal during this time. And so you can just see, like, it is still very difficult. Like, I think that they've made it a little bit easier by making the resistance of the dragon a little bit lower, so that it's now actually manageable. But it's by no means simple. Okay, so you still need to be able to withstand the hits, and you still need to be able to deal enough damage. And so, like, combining all of these makes it definitely a challenge. But compared to when the patch first came out, I think that this is at least okay. There. Okay, Alexander hopefully can survive this hit. Unfortunately not, and it is going to be now much more difficult to deal damage to the boss, but we will do our best. We will do our best at this point. Okay, so Lurkar can can hit. So we're now at 80,000, so that's good, which is still better than what we were earlier. All right. But I think at this point we're just all going to die. We did manage to get to 80,000 with the strategy I just played, where I just kept Alexander alive as much as possible, using potions, using heals, and then use Alton's skill to basically to reduce the defense, and then just keep hitting with Lurkar and with Octavia. So at least that allowed me to stay until 350% rage. And let's take a look. So you can see that the big damage dealers, as expected, Octavia and also Lurkar, both at 26,000. Alton was able to deal some damage as well at 11,000. Now I had to reduce his damage a little bit by swapping out his set. So I favored his accuracy over his damage amount, but I think that actually worked out okay. So final damage was 80,918. My best damage so far, and so getting closer to the 100,000 damage mark, which I was sort of aiming for. Anyways, that is the strategy I have for the boss here. It's going to be different for every boss. You know, at next reset, it's going to be different once again, so I'm going to have to explore some more. But hopefully this helps you sort of get a clear understanding of like the changes to the boss here and what's different with the update. And then in my next video, I will talk about the inbox changes and how it affects, you know, your storage and stuff. So we'll have more details in that video also. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Take care. Leave a comment below. Let me know what your thoughts are about the boss, and you know, love to hear more. And also, what have you tried so far, and you know, what teams work and what doesn't. So thanks a lot, guys. Take care, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.